Welcome to the Ride This Out podcast, where we talk about how to improve your mental health and strengthen your connection to nature and your community, all through one simple solution: the bicycle. My name is Zach Golding, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker and mental health therapist. I'll be your host as we discuss the power of pedaling. All right, welcome into this week's session. I talk with Shawne Martinez. Shawne's an avid cargo biker up in Portland, Oregon. I came across his Instagram a little while ago, and it's been fun following his adventures that he does with his daughter and all the different things, how they're involved with the city and riding up there with the school. So really cool ideas and mindsets about just biking every day and kind of what it can do to help yourself and your city and your family. So awesome conversation. I really enjoyed it. This is my first time talking with Shawne, and I could honestly talk all day with him. It was super fun. So I hope you enjoy it. The plan is for these sessions, these episodes, is to put them out about I'm planning on every Saturday. So I've got some other interviews lined up. So look forward to those coming through. But on this session, again, enjoy it with Shawne. All right, Shawne, we're rolling. Are you there?
Yeah, we figured it out.
Nice, man. Sorry about that. I'm glad you got it figured out.
Yeah, no problem.
Cool, man. Hey, and I appreciate you taking a little bit of time in between your rides. I know that you got a whole lot of rides. Where do you live at, and why are there so many rides where you're at? That's awesome.
Yeah, so I live in Portland, Oregon metro area, and there's a all summer long event going on right now. It's called Pedalpalooza, and it's 3 months of organized bike rides that just the general public, anyone can come up with a ride, and they post it on the Pedalpalooza calendar. And like last summer, there were like 700 rides in the 3 months, so it's pretty amazing.
What? That's amazing. So all the different rides that go on, is it like every night there's something going on, or there's multiple during every day?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much every day. But the weekends are busier, of course. Last Saturday, I think there were 16 rides just on Saturday, and it's like yesterday there were a few rides, but right now, we're getting this rain, which it's coming down, and a lot of rides are getting canceled. And I'm not sure if the ride that I'm going to tonight is going to still be going, but we'll see.
Yeah. Nice, man. No, yeah. When I was, when I was texting you back and forth of setting this up, and I was kind of laughing. I was like, you fitting everything in between these rides. I was like, wait, what is going on? Why are there so many rides? That's so cool, man.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I mean, depending on the ride, you could have just a few people, or you could have seriously like thousands of people on bike show up. It just depends on which ride it is and how popular it is.
Yeah. Well, I saw the one that you posted on your Instagram. Shout out your Instagram. That's awesome, man. You have a lot of really cool rides, and that's how I found you. I think I don't know what I was searching up, or I just came across your page, and it was really cool. But the Mural Monday thing that you do all the time, and then the mural that you guys helped paint the other day, what was that all about?
Yeah, so we just happened to stumble upon that. The community bulletin board at your local library is a pretty amazing resource, and we saw a flyer for this mural painting, and it was a street mural at an intersection, and that's it. That's the way we found out about it. So we were planning on doing or attending that ourselves, but then we decided to make it into a ride, and we led a critical mass ride and put it out there to see if a bunch of other families would join us. And we probably had, I don't know, 15 or 20 people on the ride, so it wasn't huge, but it was awesome for the kids, and they got to ride their bikes from the park to the mural painting, and then help the artist to paint in the street, which is a really fun experience. I've never done that before.
That's super cool, and it's a beautiful mural too. Like, I think what pride those kids will have, going back and seeing that later in life too. So that's awesome, man.
Totally.
So yeah, I mean, we just kind of jumped into this, Shawne, but I mean, tell me who you are, man. Introduce yourself a little bit. You're from Portland. into biking. What else?
Yeah. So I'm a stay-at-home dad right now. I've got a first grader actually going into second grade next year. We just got on summer break. Um, we we ride every single day. We ride to school every day. It's 2.5 miles each way with a couple big hills, and our kiddo's a trooper, and she can really pull those hills. And we're trying to get more kids to ride to school too. So we have a bike bus every Wednesday, and
Yeah.
we meet at our local park and at 7:30, and try to get some families to join us for just like 5 or 6 blocks, to school, and just trying to get people to uh, reconsider using the car to get to school. I mean, we have so many cars idling in front of our school right now, and it's just really gross. And we need to, get back to when we were kids. When we rode our bikes everywhere, right? And I don't know why we can't get back to that. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, no doubt. Those are some of my best memories, man, riding my bike to school, just flying in there on my BMX bike and everything. So it's so much fun.
Totally. Yeah.
Did so like what converted you over to the biking ways, right? I mean, because on your Instagram you said you have like over 18,000 miles, which is just hard to comprehend how many miles that is on a bike.
Yeah. So when our kiddo started preschool, her preschool it was good. I think it was 10 miles each way. It was 10 miles out. And I was like, I should try riding a bike to preschool, and we had a cargo bike that was non-motorized, and so I was like trying to set this as my personal goal to take her to preschool by bike only, and try not to drive, and I didn't do it every time, but I tried to do as much as I could, and that really got me going, and then over the course of time, the kid's getting heavier, her stuff's getting heavier, and I'm getting older, and I'm like, man, we're gonna go check out some e-bikes, so we bought an electric cargo bike, and man, it was just an amazing experience. I mean, it's a total game changer. It was like just showed me that I actually didn't need to be driving this pickup truck around everywhere. Like the cargo bike could do everything that I thought I needed a truck for, and it just went from there, and it just stopped driving and used the cargo bike for just over 3 years now. Yeah. And got over 18,000 miles on it. So it's been amazing.
That's so cool. So you have 18,000 miles on your current cargo bike right now.
No, we just got a new one,
Okay.
2 months ago. Maybe, yeah, 2 months ago. And so the first cargo bike we put 17,000 miles on, and it was starting to get a little small for a kid. She was having to bend her legs as she's growing, right? So she's having to bend her legs to fit in the cargo area. And so we got the longer of the same bike, which is a longer cargo area. So we've had that a couple months, and got I think we're almost at 1,500 miles on that in the past couple months. So yeah.
Dang. That's so cool. I love it. So I mean, yeah, the cargo bike, like you said, you can do everything like with you can with a truck. I'm curious what some of your hauls that you've had in your cargo bike.
So I put that thing to the test when we first got it, because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna show this can actually do work. So I was hauling dimensional lumber. I think I had maybe, I don't know, six 8 foot 2x4s on there at one point. I needed a bag of concrete, so I picked up a 60-pound bag of concrete and threw it in there, and brought it home, and it's uphill all the way home. I have a couple of different trailers that are good for hauling different loads. Um, but a big one that we did is I built this rear rack that can tow other bikes. So, like when the kiddo gets tired, I can tow her bike on the back of the cargo bike while she's sitting in the front cargo box, and it's so the front wheel of her bike is in the rear rack of the cargo bike, and her rear wheel is dragging behind. So it's like I'm towing her bike, right? And we can actually tow two bikes, so I could throw my mountain bike on there too, and we can go for a mountain bike ride to the mountain bike park, go mountain bike riding, and then ride back on the cargo bike. So it's pretty fun.
That's biking at a whole nother level right there, a bike rack on a bike.
Yeah, exactly. And the hashtag is like ride to where you ride.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Yeah, we hooked up a similar kind of setup for our kids too, and I just was laughing of like just bikes on bikes, just cruising around. I love it, man. It's so fun.
Oh, I know, it's amazing. I mean, these things can just do everything. Grocery shopping is the biggest one. I remember the first time I did grocery shopping by bike and did curbside pickup. And I was like so nervous, and I was just like, oh, is this going to work? I don't know. Is the person going to let us load groceries into our bicycle? And I mean, it's just so nice. You just pull up, they come out, you throw the groceries in the bike, and away you go. And I mean, no gasoline required. It's pretty fun.
Love it. Yeah, and you're pretty I would say you're pretty mechanically handy. I mean, I saw your post about your kayak trailer. Tell me about that. That thing was rad, man.
Yeah, so that was another challenge that I decided that we would conquer with the cargo bike to show that we didn't need a car or a truck to haul a kayak around. So we bought a tandem kayak. So it's a pretty large kayak, and I found a kid's trailer on Craigslist, I think, and gutted it. Put a couple skids on it so that it would hold the kayak, throw some straps down, and then extended the tongue so that it was long enough to reach the bike. And it works amazing. Like, yeah, I did a lot of shorter trips, maybe 5 or 8 miles to the Tualatin River, which is really close to us. But recently, we did a ride to St. John's, and that was like a 40-mile round trip. Yeah, and hauled the kayak through downtown Portland, which is pretty cool. Got all kinds of crazy looks from people. Like, what is this guy doing hauling this kayak through downtown?
40 miles, man. That's impressive. That's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really, it's trying to get people to uh, consider replacing car trips. And it really is possible. You just have to try it. You have to do it, and you just all of a sudden this door will open, and you'll be like, wow, I actually don't need a car for most of the things I thought I need a car for.
Yeah, that's what kind of shifted my thinking a whole lot a couple years ago when we got our cargo bike and everything, is that I started viewing it as more of a car than anything, of like, we do so many trips that are under 5 miles, right? Like to the store,
Right.
to the library, to the school, like all these quick little trips. And to just replace that with a bike opened up our minds of like, oh, wait, like, yeah, we don't have to sit in a car all the time, and we can save all this gas and help with pollution and everything. And it's also just, so much more fun too, right? Like just the high of, oh yeah, I hauled this or I picked up that. Like it's so much fun.
Oh yeah, I love riding bikes, and I cannot say that I love driving, and I just don't drive anymore. I mean, gosh, I don't know when the last time I drove was. It's probably been a couple years, and uh, it's just like, man, like just now I was on my way here. I'm sitting at a park right now, and on my way here I crossed over a freeway on the Blumenauer Bridge, and like the cars are just stacked up underneath me, and
Yeah.
everybody's just sitting there and they're not moving, and I'm just like, like I used to think that was normal, like that was okay, and this is what you do when you're a grown up. You sit in a car all day and, and you just sit here and get angry, and then like, you actually don't have to do that.
Yeah. I'm reminded now of like a bunch of your posts. I love those posts where there's just, it looks like miles of traffic just backed up and you're just flying by them right in the bike lane. You're just cruising right by them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so I can't remember the figure, but I think it's 90%. It's got to be up high like that are single occupancy vehicles on most of our like freeways on Interstate 5. It's all single occupancy vehicles, and there's one person in every metal box on the freeway just idling, and it's so crazy to think about how much space each person is taking up in sitting in a car all by themselves. What a waste.
Yeah. No, and that's one of my most favorite things too on the bike is like when there is a bunch of traffic and you just fly right by it and you're just like, and just, with your kids, you just got a grin on your face of just cruising right by them. That's the best.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I'll just like sometimes I'll say, "Hey, sell your car" when I'm going past, and give them a little bell ring.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. I mean, you've referenced a pickup truck. And you haven't driven it in a couple of years. Did you just end up selling it because you're not using it?
Yeah, yeah. Ended up getting rid of it completely, and so it was a interesting process. So you start realizing how many things that you've purchased, other things that like make you reliant on having to have like a pickup truck or a car, right? So we had this travel trailer that we rarely used, and it just took up space in the driveway. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm like, well, we can't get rid of the truck because how are we going to tow this travel trailer around, And then I'm just like, why don't we just get rid of the travel trailer? That, you know what I mean? And just changes like that, like get rid of the travel trailer, don't do certain things. And you don't need a truck, right? Then I figured out with the cargo bike that we can go bicycle camping, and we're going this next weekend. We're going to go bike camping, and it's a 92-mile round trip. But with the e-bike, with the e-cargo bike, we can haul all our camping gear and to the state park, and we're going to spend a couple days and then ride back. So it'll be really fun.
Heck yeah, man. Have you ever done bike camping before?
I've only done it once, and I think it was
Yeah.
last year. Yeah, and we did one night, so it was kind of just like just to try it out, So we're gonna do 2 nights this time, and but I would like to get go for a few days sometime. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, that's something I want to definitely get more into. I've never really done it, but I've been reading this really cool book. It's called Just Ride by Grant Peterson. It's just like this fun little, like each page has a different little like tip about biking and stuff. And he was an old, racing cyclist and stuff, but he's kind of converted to just the casual biker and just like the more efficient biker, just that makes sense. And one of the things
Yeah.
that he said is that the funnest things that he's ever done is bike camping. And I'm like, man, I gotta try this out. This would be so fun to do.
Oh man, it was a blast. But I learned some lessons. Like luckily I had and I have now 2 batteries for the e-bike because I went through both batteries on that last camping trip, and we actually ran out on the climb up into the campground. I ran out, and it was a tough like last quarter mile. You know what I mean? Like fully loaded with camp gear, uphill, no batteries, no e-assist, and I was so glad that they actually had a power outlet at the campground because I wasn't even sure of that. And we found one on an outbuilding, and we were able to recharge before we left.
Nice. Yeah, that's the only downfall, right, of the electric cargo bike for sure, is that if you're going super far distances, just planning out where you can charge up. But it's
Yeah.
totally worth it though to be able to cover that ground and that distance. So
Oh
super
yeah.
cool.
When I first got ours, I had really bad range anxiety. Like I didn't want to go more than like 5 or 10 miles away from the house, like because I'm just like, oh, what if we run out of power? But depending on what bike you have, like the bike that we have, uh, it'll still move. Because it's a mid-drive motor, it'll still move and it'll still shift. It saves enough power. It's got electric shifting, but it'll still have enough power to shift gears and it'll still move. So you're not completely stranded. You know what I mean? This as long as you have any super steep hills.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. So you referenced you mountain bike a little bit too. You say you've been hitting some trails.
Yeah. So a lot of things that have changed, since our kiddo came around, and I used to do a lot more mountain biking, and I was actually I led mountain bike team for our local search and rescue group. I used to volunteer over a decade. I was a volunteer with search and rescue, but after our daughter was born, and priorities changed because then I can't leave in the middle of the night to go on these call outs because now we have a kid to take care of, right? So that's just one of many things that changed with when our daughter was born. It's just like priorities changed. Now it's all about her, and doing things for her, and then that's another reason that I really started getting into replacing car trips and not burning fossil fuel because man, we really need to take care of this planet, and it's even more important now that I have this tiny human that I'm taking care of, and so that the priorities definitely shifted in the last few years.
Yeah. No, that's the cool thing about the family bikes, I think is a game changer for a lot of us parents as well, right? Like we can still pedal and get that benefit and have a fun time. And it's not quite the same as mountain biking for sure, but you still just have such a fun time with your
Yeah.
family and everything too. That's the blast.
Oh, totally. And I'm putting way more miles on my e-bike than I ever did on my mountain bike. And because we're not driving. There's no way I put 18,000 miles on my mountain bike.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure.
Yeah.
So you would tell me more about this search and rescue thing. You would go out on the mountain bike and you'd be on a mountain bike team and go out and find people and help them out.
Yeah, so we had a mountain bike team. We had several specialized teams. So we had like an ATV team, mountain bike team. We had a trail running team, and so there were all these specialized teams within the larger team. Rope rescue team, and so bikes. Uh, it turns out that bikes are awesome for urban searches. So if we were on an urban search for like a dementia patient or a lost child, you can cover more ground, um, and have a higher probability of detection if you're on a bike than if you're in a car, right? Because if you're in this metal box, your senses are less, right? You can't hear as well. You probably can't see as well through the windows, but when you're on a bike, wow, you can really hear and see and look around. And so it's the advantages of using a bicycle in an urban search are just amazing. So we would get deployed a lot more in urban searches than in the mountains. But we did use the mountain bikes a few times in mountain searches too.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I never really thought of it that way. Like, what an awesome tool to find people that are, that need help, right? I mean, just cruising
Right.
around and being able to just you're so much more in tune with your surroundings and everything. So cool. So you did
Exactly.
that for 10 years, you said?
Yeah, I'm like over 10 years, like 12 years. And I was on a couple different teams. I lived in Nevada for a while, and then I lived, of course, now in Oregon. So I was on two different teams, but um, it was fun. It was a cool volunteer experience. You got a lot of cool training for your volunteer hours, and uh, it was rewarding, especially if you were out there and somebody was lost in the middle of the woods and you actually found them. I mean, how
Yeah.
cool is that?
So cool. That's awesome, man. So tell me more about the bike bus thing. I've just recently found out about the whole bike bus movement. I don't know, a couple months ago, and I was just like stumbled upon it on Twitter or Instagram. I was like, what is this? What is going on? So yeah, tell me more about this.
Oh man, so I was inspired by a couple of people. Coach Balto has a huge bike bus going here in Portland, going to Alameda Elementary, and then Megan Ramey has a bike bus in Hood River, which is outside of Portland, and both of them, just watching them on their social media accounts, and I actually got to ride with Coach Balto one day, the beginning of last school year. Um, their school started a week before ours, so I got to experience their bike bus, and it was like hundreds of kids riding to school with Coach Balto. And I'm like, what is this? This is awesome. And I just couldn't believe how many people chose to ride bikes instead of driving cars to their school. And I'm like, we have to do this at our school. So I immediately started it. And we every Wednesday we would meet at a park near our school and try to get as many families as we could to join us and ride the 5 or 6 blocks to school. And we did it every Wednesday morning. And some Wednesdays it was just me and my daughter because a lot of people don't like to ride in the rain, which I understand if you don't have good gear. But we rode every day, rain or shine, even in the snow. We put studded tires on the cargo bike and we'd still ride. So it was really fun.
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, and I guess that was what I stumbled upon was Coach Balto, like Sam Balto. It seems like he's kind of one of the first pioneers, right, in
Yeah,
America to
for
get this
sure.
thing going.
Yeah, yeah, just totally inspiring. I hope we can replicate it in more schools. I know it's tough when a lot of families um, don't feel safe riding bikes on our streets, right? And it's totally understandable. So we have to change the infrastructure. We have to make it safe for all ages to ride bikes to school. And just we have too many cars. We have too many cars at our school, and we need to change that.
Yeah, I think as I've been like researching stuff and looking at different things and talking to different people, I honestly think that there are a couple of things will help change our infrastructure more than anything. And the family cargo bike is one that we've been talking about, but the other one is the bike bus. I really think that has so much potential of just waking people up of this movement of biking and like what it can really help with people. I've worked a lot with students as a therapist and worked a lot with different schools, and I think it's I don't know, it's interesting. So, there's so many people that talk about this mental health crisis that we're in, and
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like this could be such a key to helping with that of like getting more kids biking to school. If you bike to school and you're like show up with a moving your body and you're ready to go and your mind is just ready to learn and just kind of
Right.
puts you at ease. I think that could really help out with this mental health crisis, but then also just with our biking infrastructure as well of, hey, there's so many kids that want to bike to school and so many families that want to, but they just don't feel safe. And so it can hopefully, again, wake up some of our city infrastructure and our, planners and stuff of like, this is a necessity. This needs to happen.
Right. Yeah, totally. I agree. When the kids get up in the morning and they get that exercise in and they get the wiggles out and they're ready to learn. They get to school and they're bright-eyed and they're ready to go instead of, dragging them out of bed and throwing them in the car and I don't know if they're doing screen time in the car or what, you know what I mean? And then they get dropped off and they're just not really awake when they get to school. Man, when they're riding their bikes, they are ready to go and they're ready to learn. It's a huge difference.
Yeah, no, and that's like you're talking about with the senses, right? Just it's opens up your whole world, opens up your mind, and just kind of that mindfulness, and you're just ready. You're just so much more engaged and connected. And so that was the next question I wanted to ask you, Sean, is just like as you guys have been biking and everything, right? Like what have the benefits that you've seen as far as like with your mental health, with your emotional health, with your physical health, any of those things?
Oh yeah, definitely. So um, I'm definitely in more in tune, with my body and uh, eating healthier in the last few years. Cutting out most red meat and trying to not consume as much dairy. I've been using oat milk instead of cow milk. I mean, just little things like that. Um, but back when I was uh, driving that pickup truck all the time, man, I was eating horribly, and I'm like drinking those Monster Energy drinks, and like it was so bad, and I definitely gained a lot of weight, just sitting in this truck all the time and not exercising, and now I just feel a lot healthier. Just it's so much better. I'm definitely happier. I've cut alcohol out of my life too, to more prioritize our kiddo, and it's just a lot like so many changes have come about since she was born. um, but also with the kids, it's just like amazing how much better they'll sleep at night when they exercise. You get that I think they recommend an hour of exercise every day, right? So it's like when the kiddos are riding to school and riding home, depending on how far away you live, you could cover your hour exercise right there. But when they get that exercise and you get your sleep pattern down, man, they pass out like right away, like at bedtime, and there's no fussing because they are depleted, because they got their exercise. So it's really good. It's good for the kids.
Yeah, no, I love that what you're just talking about. I think when you start to do habits lead to other habits, right? When you start to kind of like recognize, the benefits of that physical movement, of that biking, and then it just leads to other small changes, and then all those small changes, all those small habits, it just leads to a lifestyle change, and you just start to recognize like the benefit of it, and just how good you feel all around. So that's super cool, man.
Yeah, it's huge. I always say that it all started when I was pushing the stroller, right? Like even before the bike thing, like pushing the stroller through the neighborhood, for hours, trying to get trying to get her to go to sleep, and take a nap, and walking the dogs, and just getting these extra. I mean, we would do like 5 to 7 miles a day pushing the stroller through the neighborhood, and that's when I started recognizing how terrible our infrastructure is for like we don't have very many sidewalks in our neighborhood. We don't have any bike lanes. But I think that was the start of my journey, was pushing the stroller around for miles a day.
No, I love it. Yeah, we all start somewhere, and that's amazing. That was kind of the last question that I wanted to ask you is like if there's a family that's interested in getting into these group rides or to in the cargo bike or your situation, what advice would you give someone looking into it, beginners?
Yeah, so I always tell people to go on test rides, right? You can go to the bike shop and it doesn't cost anything. You just you give them your ID as collateral, and you can take the bike out and go for a test ride and feel how it is to like go climb a hill with an e-bike, or to go down the multi-use path on an e-bike and load it up. Like put your kids in there and feel it, and then try the different types of bikes too, to see what suits you the best, what style of e-bike, but just go do the test rides. They're totally free.
Oh, that's great advice. And I would also say too, like even sometimes you can get kind of freaked out the first time you jump on one of those things because they're a little bit bigger, they're a little kind of intimidating, but once you start to recognize the balance and you figure out, your strength with everything, it's really not an intimidating process at all. Once you get the hang of it and get comfortable with it, it's that first ride can be a little scary, but once you get figured it out, it goes pretty smooth after that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's probably at least 10 minutes of riding for your brain to adjust, to the different center of gravity of the bike, or the length of the bike, on the box seats on the box bike, like I have, the front wheel is way out there, right? And so your brain has to get used to that, how it changes the steering and how the bike reacts differently than a regular bike, but it comes pretty quick, so yeah, just practice and get some rides in, test rides.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just like riding a bicycle, right? You just jump on and it'll come to you. You just got to try it out.
Exactly.
Well, right on. Well, Shawne, man, I appreciate you taking some time, dude. It's been fun to follow your journey, and I'll continue to do that. And I would encourage everyone else listening too to follow you on Instagram. What's your handle again?
It's Tigard Stripes, Tigard.
What does Tigard come from? Where's that?
So we actually live right on the county line between Portland and Tigard. So Tigard is the city that we live in. We're just outside of Portland by one house.
Oh, gotcha. Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. I like it. Clever then. Yeah, because I was wondering what the reference was for that Tigard Stripes. So cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Shawne, appreciate it, man. And enjoy your group rides and be safe out there.
Thank you so much. Good talking to you.
Okay. We'll see you.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Again, I would like to thank Shawne for joining me on this session and discussing his experiences with biking and how it's kind of changed his mindset and his perspective. And that was one of my big takeaways from this is when we go through a major experience, right? He talked about having his daughter and how that just kind of opened up different ideas and different behaviors, different perspectives of things. And then how that led to other behaviors and new ideas and new challenges and new things for him to, be motivated to stay healthy and happy. When we go through life-changing experiences like that, it can really bring on new mindsets with that. So like I was saying, our habits and our behaviors, our things that we're involved in, they lead to other habits, they lead to other behaviors, and we can look at it over time, and those small things kind of build up to build who we are. So awesome conversation. So I appreciate it. Thank you, Shawne. All right. And thanks guys for tuning in. Again, be on the lookout for these episodes, these sessions every week. Share them with your friends, share them with your other cycling enthusiasts. If you're thinking about getting on a bike, do it. Just jump on, go for a ride, see how it makes you feel. And let's ride this out.